Hello my darling friends, welcome back to my channel. I am so happy to have you all here. I'm really looking forward to our projects today. We are going to jump into some really fun Easter projects. I've got 5 designs planned for y'all, so go get your crafty stuff together and let's get to creating. Alrighty y'all, so we are going to kick our projects off today by creating some embellishments. We're going to need quite a few embellishments for all of our projects today, so let's go create those first. We'll get that out of the way and then we can jump into creating all of our projects. We are going to kick off our embellishment project by creating some resin molds, and y'all have seen me do this before. I really love working with this resin. I just love it. It's so cool. I'm kind of addicted and obsessed with it. So I found this set that I have here on Amazon, and I will have this particular resin linked in the description box for y'all if you're interested in this one. I love it. It's a quick set. It literally sets up in 10 to 15 minutes, just depending on your mold. So we're going to start by mixing 1 part, 1-to-1. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. So I'm going to mix 1 part A and 1 part B, equal amounts of the two. And then I will go ahead and mix it together really well. And when you first pour in your part B, it's going to start to look really cloudy. You want to stir this until that cloudiness has almost dissipated. Just make sure that you don't sit and stir for too long because this stuff truly does start to set up nearly immediately. Now that we have our resin completely mixed, it's ready to pour into the mold. So I'm going to go ahead. This one is a 3D bunny, and I'm really excited to make this one. I can't wait to see how this turns out. So I'm going to pour this one first. And when I started doing this, I thought I had plenty of resin in my cup, but it turns out it took every single bit of this resin that I had mixed up to pour into this particular mold, which was, I believe it was 4 ounces, and I can't remember what the conversion to milliliters is, but I will put that in the description box for y'all. So it did take 4 ounces to fill this mold. So I went ahead and mixed up some more so I could fill the rest of my mold. And as I pour this and it starts to sit for a little while, y'all will see how quickly it starts to set. And you know that this is completely set up when it turns opaque white. So this is about 1.5 minutes after I poured the resin into the mold. So you can see how quickly it does actually start to set up. It is definitely going from clear to opaque white. And again, once it's turned opaque white, it's probably ready to demold. However, I do like to err on the side of caution, and I usually wait the full 10 to 15 minutes before I demold. And you can see here my dragonflies haven't even started to set up yet, and I think that's because this was a very shallow mold, so there wasn't enough mass in here to generate the heat required that actually sets this. Because you'll notice if you've ever used this, once it starts to set, you'll feel how hot it gets. It's not like so hot you can't touch it, but it gets really, really warm. And so that's
if there's not enough mass in your mold for it to actually generate that heat, it takes a long time to set up. The dragonflies did actually set up, but it did take a while. So here I've demolded the carrots, and I love how these turned out. Just the detail is amazing to me. I did overflow my mold just a teeny tiny bit, but if this happens to you, that excess is really, really easy to cut off, because when you demold it, it's still pretty soft and it's very easy to cut that excess away. This rabbit, though, came out nearly perfect. I love how well he came out. Okay, y'all, so I'm going to go ahead and finish demolding the rest of these, and then we will get to move on to demolding our 3D bunny. And this is the part I'm so excited about. I can hardly wait to see how he turns out. So y'all, to me, this is the most satisfying part of this whole project, is demolding these. And then just like that, we've got this darling, darling little bunny. I love how this sweet little guy turned out. I didn't have any issues at all demolding him. He came right out of that mold. There was a couple of little weird spots, and I got this rough bottom on it, but after he was completely cured and fully set, I did take it out to the shop and sand that bottom off with the belt sander. So now I'm going to go ahead and start painting all of our embellishments here, and I am just using an array of colors to paint all of these. So I will have the colors that I used for all of today's projects listed in the description box for y'all. We're just going to go ahead and get a base coat on our bunny, and I'm just using a slate gray to do this. To finish off the bunny, I did add several layers of paint here. I did a lot of layers with blending in different tones to just give this little bunny lots of depth and dimension. And you'll kind of see what he looks like towards the end when we get ready to use this embellishment in some of our projects. So after I finished the bunny, I set to work painting all the rest of our embellishments, and they are almost ready to use. And y'all, I love to embellish my projects, and I'm very excited to use these. We're going to be using almost all of these in today's projects. These are going to be some of the cutest embellishments ever. Y'all notice that I seem to say embellishments an awful lot. We should count and see how many times I actually said it in that one sentence. All right, y'all, so it's Easter. We're creating some fun Easter decorations here today. So we're going to start our projects off by creating some Easter eggs, or painting some Easter eggs. And I'm just using these wooden Easter eggs. I found these on Amazon, so I will have them linked in the description box for y'all. This was actually a really good deal for all these wooden Easter eggs. And I chose a palette that was very out of the ordinary for this year's colors. I am loving this. I know it's a little bit different. It's definitely not your traditional spring colors, but I love this palette, and it just makes me feel happy. I think they are going to be so pretty. So again, here for all of these eggs, I actually mixed all of these colors myself, and I will try very hard to have the mixes that I used in the description box for y'all. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish painting all of these Easter eggs. I start by painting all of the tops, let them dry really well, and then I flip them over and paint all the bottom sides. And this project actually went really, really fast. Okay, y'all, so I'm really curious, what color palettes are your favorite color palettes for Easter? Do you like to go with the traditional pastel springy colors, or do you like to be like me and be very out of the ordinary and think outside the box and just do things that are completely different and a little on the rebellious side, I guess? Actually, I don't know if I call this rebellious. I just think it's fun to do things that are a little bit different. And I am loving this color palette right now. What are y'all thinking of this so far? My favorite one is this this blue-gray one that I'm doing. I think it's my favorite. Plus, I really love that deep purple one and the cinnamon-colored one. What are y'all thinking? What are y'all thinking about this? Is this a yay or a nay? Okay, so I got all of the eggs colored. They're finished, the tops and the bottoms, and oh y'all, I really love this. I think these turned out very pretty, and I think they're going to look really nice with the rest of my spring decor. I am really excited about this project, y'all. I'm going to show you how I made this cute little bird cage cloche decor piece. I'm not actually sure what I want to call this. It mimics more like a bird cage, I suppose, so we'll just call it a cute little mini bird cage. So we're going to need some wire, and I'm using 12 gauge wire. We're going to need some of these little mini tart pans, some floral foam, some wire cutters, and a wooden finial for the topper. So we're going to get started by first forming our floral foam to the tart tin. And I'm just going to do this by pressing it right into that foam, and that piece was a little bit too big, so I had this spare one left from the first one that I created. So I'm just going to press it right onto that foam to let that foam kind of form to the shape of the little tart pan. And I am using, this particular foam is a dry wet foam, and I like this one for two reasons. Because I like the color of it. I like that, just that earthy deep green color, but I also like that it's very moldable. So I just kind of use my fingers to mold this to the shape of the tart pan. Once I am satisfied that I've got it shaped exactly the way I want it and it fits nice and snug in there, I'm going to go ahead and hot glue this right into the tart pan. And y'all, be careful. I burnt my finger really bad doing this. I'm not even sure how I did it. Somehow I got some glue on my finger and it burnt. And oh boy, does it smart. Look at that. It's blistering already. Goodness, yeah. So be careful with hot glue guns. They can be dangerous, but yet I can't seem to live without mine. So anyway, so I went ahead and hot glued this in. That's another reason why I like this floral foam, is it works really well with hot glue, and I never have issues with the hot glue actually melting the foam. Yeah, look at my finger. I really did a good job on that, didn't I? Okay, let's go ahead and start forming our wire. And I didn't have anything in the kitchen that had this nice straight shape to it, so I just grabbed a wine bottle out of my my wine collection and used that to shape the foam, or to shape the wire. So because I want a nice curve at the top of that. And then once I kind of shape it around that, I fiddle with it a little bit to just kind of, shape it even a little bit more. And then I do want to make sure that all of them are roughly the same length. So I did trim the bottoms off to try to get them as close to the same length as I could. Next, we're just going to go ahead and place them into our little floral foam. And I do this by placing one, and then I go over the opposite direction, and then I come over across those with that third piece. And after I got these set and kind of shaped the way I wanted, I did dip the ends of all of these wires into some hot glue and just sort of pressed them into that floral foam to get them a good secure hold. I did fiddle with this a little bit too after I glued them into place, just to kind of reshape them and get them looking exactly the way I wanted. And then to secure them at the top, I'm just going to come in with a very thin piece of jute and tie them securely together with a really tight knot. And then of course I will just come in and trim up all of those tail ends, or my 2 tail ends, not all, there's all of 2, the 2 tail ends, and I clipped them very close to that knot. And that way I don't have a big bulky knot at the top, because we do want to glue our finial to the very top of this. All right, so I'm going to fuss with this just a little bit more to kind of shape things and get the shape spruced up a little bit. After you tie the strings, they do tend to kind of move a little bit, and some of them started to bend weird on me. I didn't have that issue with the first one I made, but with this one, I don't know why I was having issues, but I was. Anyway, craft projects are like that, right? Some go super smooth and some don't. Okay, y'all, so I'm just going to go ahead and start layering in some moss here, and I'm using 3 different types of moss, and I do hot glue it down, and here I am being super stupid again. And then I'm like, oh yeah, don't do that. Don't burn yourself again. So I grabbed these, my needle nose pliers, but that wasn't working so well. So I will actually go and grab the proper tool for doing this so that I don't burn any more fingers. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep layering in some moss here until I have it looking pretty full. And I do kind of want it to have a little bit of that messy look to it, so that it looks, like a bird actually did build this nest. I mean, bird nests are usually super precise, but kind of messy at the same time, if that makes sense. So that's kind of the look that I was going here with this moss. Now that we have all of our moss in, and I like the way it looks, it's looking pretty good and full, and I've covered up all of the floral foam, we can go ahead and now add the finial to the top. And I'm just using some hot glue to do this, and I press it on as close to the center of those wires as I possibly can, and then I hold it for a few minutes just to let that hot glue completely set so that the finial will stay in place. And then I felt like, oh, I think I want to add a little bit of moss to the top of this up around the finial. So I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue just some little bits of moss around the tip top so it's just kind of peeking out. All right, y'all, so now we can go ahead and embellish our cute little bird cage that we created here, or in this instance, it's going to be a rabbit cage, because I want to add in the rabbit that we created earlier today. I just thought this would be super cute. So I am going to hot glue him into place, and I did use a pretty liberal amount of hot glue here. I want to make sure that this little guy isn't going to go anywhere. And after I get him all situated and placed the way I like, I'm going to come in with a few more embellishments. Are y'all keeping track of how many times I use the word embellishments? I know it's a lot. So anyway, I'm going to add a few more embellishments to this. I think we will go ahead and tuck in a little mushroom, a little flower, and a carrot. Once we get the carrot all tucked into place, that is going to finish off this project. And y'all, I think these are really, really cute. I think you could use these for so many different things. And obviously they would also look really cute with a sweet little bird tucked inside. What do y'all think of this? I think that this little guy is pretty cute tucked in here. And then I just added an Easter egg to the other one because I was just kind of playing around and wanted to see what kind of filler we could use.
Okay, y'all, we are going to just take a quick moment because I want to thank ExTool for partnering with me in this episode. Y'all, we are really loving our laser cutting machine. We've had a lot of fun with it. We've had a lot of fun learning. We are by far experts from using the laser cutting machine, but we're learning and we are getting better and better. We did recently purchase some accessories for our M1. We purchased the honeycomb riser system and we installed the air assist, and y'all, it has really made all the difference in our cutting. We aren't getting anywhere near as much scorching as we were prior to using the honeycomb riser and the air assist. So we are really loving it. And y'all, look at this gorgeous roll around cart that Michael built for our cutting machine. He worked so hard. He spent an entire weekend putting this together, and I love it. It literally houses every single component of our laser cutter that we need. And the most beautiful part is it's portable, so we can roll it around, place it anywhere in the wood shop that we need, and I am loving it. He did such a great job on this. So let's give Michael a great big giant shout out. Yay! Applause, applause. Okay, y'all, let's get back to creating our Easter projects.
Is going to be a fun, playful one. It's a really quick project, and I was just having fun playing with the laser cutter. I was experimenting and playing around with some of the different settings, and I had my grandkids in mind when I created this piece. I thought this would be something fun that they might enjoy for Easter. So I designed this, and then I cut the whole thing out on my XTool laser cutting machine. And instead of doing engraving on these, I decided to experiment with the scoring feature on here, because I liked the scoring a little bit better because it made it look more drawn on rather than engraved into the wood. I was not sure though if it was going to cover it up when I stained it. So I did a little test swatch on his foot and it looks great. It didn't hide that scoring at all. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish staining this piece, and I am using some Waverly Antiquing wax that I have watered down a little bit to stain this. So I will brush it on in small areas. I like to just work in small sections, and then I come in with a clean towel and wipe it away, and this will help give it that really beautiful stained finish. I think this turned out really, really pretty. It is still pretty wet here, and once it dries, it lightens up a little bit, so that scoring kind of pops through a little bit more. So now that I've got the board done, I'm going to go ahead and stain all the cute little Tic Tac Toe pieces. And if y'all are interested in this kit, I will have it available on my website for y'all, or I will also have the pattern available for you as a free download. To finish this project off, I thought it would be fitting to actually play a game of tic-tac-toe. So I had Michael come in, and yeah, I kind of wish I wouldn't have. He beat me in about 10 seconds flat. Well, we can't have Easter projects without creating a fun, whimsical bunny. So for this piece, we are going to be using this wood cutout that I cut out on our laser cutter. And then I'm going to embellish this with some scrapbook paper. So I'm tracing this onto the scrapbook paper right now. And then I will come in and, of course, I will cut that out. And then we're going to go ahead and glue this to our bunny, but we're going to use a fun method for doing this, and it's something that I've never tried before, so we're going to be trying this together for the first time. Well, it's the first time for me anyway. Okay, y'all, so we are going to be using some Mod Podge to attach our scrapbook paper to our wooden bunny. But we're going to do this a little unconventional. We're not going to use the traditional method here. So I'm going to come in with my paintbrush and spread a very liberal coating of this Mod Podge all over our wooden bunny. And I'm paying very close attention here to make sure that I get that Mod Podge clear out to the very edges and that every square inch of this bunny is covered, because we want to make sure that our paper gets a very good, strong, secure hold. And I also want to make sure those edges are really held down very well so that none of them peel up. So after I get this Mod Podge completely coated onto the bunny, I'm going to let it dry. So you can see here that it's completely dry now. Now we're going to come in and put our paper on top of the bunny, and then to activate that glue, to reactivate it, we're going to heat it. I've seen this done so many times and I've always wanted to try it. So this is kind of fun, trying something new. So all I'm doing is coming in with my little mini heat press here, and I just start to press down in all the little sections at a time to let that glue get reactivated, and then just like that, it sticks. It's wonderful. It's like magic. I thought this was so fun, and the really best part about this, the coolest part, is I did not get a single air bubble. Now that we have our scrapbook paper attached to our bunny, I do come around and just sort of checked all of my edges to make sure none of them were going to come up, to make sure that they were all glued down very well. But I did have a few areas on this bunny where the scrapbook paper was sort of hanging over the edge, because, you know, it's kind of hard to get it cut precise. So my little trick for eliminating that is to just take your little sanding file here and brush in a downward motion, and it will just trim off all that excess paper, and then it just makes it look like the scrapbook paper is actually painted onto the wood. You don't have any of those weird edges, and everything shapes to itself very well. Our edges are looking really, really good. And y'all, I'm very impressed with how this method of Mod Podge worked. I love it. I will definitely try it again. Okay, y'all, so now let's move on to actually embellishing our cute little bunny. So the first thing I'm going to do here is cut out a pocket. I want to create a cute little pouch pocket for our bunny to hold some carrots and whatnot. And the fabric that I'm using here to do this was a little bit thin, so I'm going to go ahead and cut 2 pieces, and then I will just attach these 2 pieces together to just make my fabric a little thicker. And this pattern, I created it, I created this in Canva, and I will have it available for y'all as a free download if you're interested. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the pocket out, and I'm also going to cut out some carrots, and I'm using 2 different coordinating fabrics to do this. For the carrots, I'm going to go ahead and draw them on rather than pinning the pattern on. I just thought this might be a little bit easier. And so I'm going to flip my fabric wrong side out so I can draw on the back side. And I am cutting this carrot on the fold because I do want to sew this together so that we can put a little stuffing in it. So I'm cutting it on, or drawing it onto the back of the fabric, and then I will cut it on the fold. So place one side of your pattern on the fold and then go ahead and cut it out. And when you open it up, it's going to look kind of like a heart with a funky little notch at the bottom. That's what it's supposed to look like, because when we sew this together, it will look like a carrot. Before I take these to the sewing machine, I'm going to go ahead and press them all really well, and then I will go ahead and sew these. And I'm just going to do this off camera because I know y'all probably get tired of seeing me sew. It's kind of boring. You could also use glue to do this. If you're not a sewer and you want to use glue to do this, glue will work exactly the same as sewing. So to sew these together, I'm going to put right sides together on my carrots, and then I'm just going to sew all around that bottom edge, but I'm going to leave this top part open so that I can stuff these after they've been sewn. For the pockets, I wanted to have some cute stitching on these, so I'm basically just drawing on that same exact stitch marks that are on the actual pattern piece, and then I will take it to the sewing machine and just stitch around my drawing marks. I hope that made sense. I think you probably know where I was going with that. Okay, so let's take these to the sewing machine and do all of our sewing. All right, we've sewn all of our pieces together, and now I'm going to go ahead and turn my, oh, I think the pockets turned out so cute. You can kind of see how I just did the stitch mark on that to kind of give it that cute little pocket look to it. I just wanted it to look more like a pocket than just a patch. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn our carrots right sides out, and I'm just going to flip them the best I can by hand, and then I will use a crochet hook to kind of poke out that really skinny end, the pointy part of our carrot. Just be really careful when you do this part. You could use any blunt, anything that's blunt at the bottom to do this. You just want to be careful so that you don't poke through your stitching. All right, now that that's done, we can go ahead and put a little tiny bit of stuffing in each of the carrots. And I'm only going to stuff these about 2/3 of the way full because I'm going to add some cute little greenery to the top of these and then tie it closed. Let's get to embellishing this bunny, shall we? So the first thing I'm going to do is attach our cute little pocket right to our bunny's little belly area, I guess you could say. But when I glue this down, I want to make sure that I get a little bit of a pucker in there. So I'm going to put the hot glue on. I'm just using hot glue, but you could use fabric glue, wood glue, like all-purpose glue. You could use tacky glue. Any kind of glue really is going to work to do this. But you know me and my hot glue. I just use it for everything. So even after I burn my fingers off. So I'm going to go ahead and place this back on, but before I stick it down, I'm going to kind of poof it a little bit so that we get a little tiny bit of a pucker. So you can kind of see how I'm kind of pushing it into the center so that our pocket kind of puckers up in the middle. It kind of makes it look like it's got something in it, I guess. It kind of gives it that full quilted look almost. Now I want to create some whiskers for this little guy, and I am just using some very, very thin wire to do this. I forgot what gauge this was, but I'll have it listed for y'all in the supply list in the description box. But it is a very thin wire, and I just cut a small short length of it, and then I wrapped it around my paintbrush to kind of give it some curly cues. And then I'm going to just go ahead and hot glue these into place, and I am using 6 of them, so I'll have 3 whiskers on each side. And then once I get the whiskers glued into place, we will go ahead and glue on his cute little nose. For his nose, I just used a little heart cutout that I cut out on the laser cutter, but you could use any little heart to do this, and then I just put it upside down. I think an upside down heart looks exactly like a bunny nose. My daughter used to raise rabbits, and I used to say that all the time, that their noses look just like an upside down heart. So that's why I did it this way. All right, let's go ahead and add a little bit of greenery to our carrots, and I am just using some boxwood that I just picked off of a larger piece of greenery pick, and I'm tucking it down in there. I did use a little bit of hot glue to just kind of help secure it into place, and then I'm going to go ahead and tie this closed with a really thin piece of jute, and I'll just tie it in a cute little knot. And then instead of tying a bow, I'm just going to leave the little tail ends hanging down with the knot because I kind of like that look for this particular piece. I really thought it would be cute to add a little dragonfly embellishment to our bunny. So I'm going to use one of our ones that we created way back at the beginning of this video out of the resin. And I'm just going to glue it right here, just kind of below the pocket, right around, like almost on top of his foot, I guess you could say. And then right above the dragonfly, I'm going to hot glue a little flower into place. Let's go ahead and tuck our carrots into his pocket or her pocket. This could be a him or a her. And then I'm going to, on top of the carrots, I'm going to add in just this cute little wood bunny that I cut out on the laser cutter. Y'all, I'm really enjoying the laser cutter. I used to cut all this stuff out on my scroll saw, and little things like this cute little bunny, oh my gosh, I can't, it's so much easier with the laser cutter and it's a lot faster and you get super precise cuts. I love that. So I am really enjoying the laser cutter. All right, we've got all his little cute embellishments tucked into his pocket. So let's go ahead and create a bow. And I'm going to make a pinwheel bow here. So I've just taken some strips of fabric that I ripped. I didn't cut them. I just kind of ripped them. And then I'm just going to go ahead and start laying them all out in this like pinwheel fashion. And once I get them all laid out to the thickness that I want, I'm going to tie it all together with a piece of jute. To tie this together, I pick my pinwheel up the best I can without it moving, and then I'm going to lay the center right on top that piece of jute, and then just come up right through all of those little fabric pieces and tie it into a knot. And your bow will try to squish up. As you can see, it happened here. It will squish up like this, but once you get that first initial knot tied in there, you can kind of fluff it up a little bit and then go ahead and tie a couple extra knots to make sure that this is really well securely held into place. And then you can go ahead and fluff it up again and it will fluff right back out into that cute little pinwheel circle shape that we had. And then if you want, you can come in and trim up some of these ends. I felt like mine was just a little bit too big, so I am going to trim a little bit off the ends before we attach it to our bunny. So to attach the bow to our bunny, I'm just going to use some hot glue and I'm attaching him to his ear. And in hindsight, I kind of wish that I would have attached this bow over on his left ear because I feel like the embellishments are a little heavy on the right side. A little top heavy, if you will. But once he was glued into place, it was not coming back up. So I just left it and went ahead and just fluffed everything up a little bit. And I think it's looking really, really cute. I did decide though that we needed a little extra something on the left side. So I came in with just a little tiny bumblebee and hot glued it to that left side of the pocket. Of course, after I finished fluffing everything up here, that took a little while. Okay, y'all, so I'm going to add one last embellishment to our cute little bunny, and that's going to finish him off. I do think it is so darling. I think he would be really cute sitting on a shelf. What do you guys think of this sweet little bunny? For our very last piece, we're going to create another cute little bunny. This is going to be a slight variation to the one we just made. I thought it would be fun to make this one with a little bit of that three-dimensional look. So I cut this bunny out on our laser cutter as well as all of his cute little embellishments. To get started, I'm going to paint his little feet pads, the cute little pads for his feet. I'm going to paint them black. I want to do some Crackle Medium on these. So when you're using Crackle Medium, you need to have a really dark base coat. So I will just go ahead and cover all of the little accessories here for his feet in a base coat of black, and I only did one coat of paint, and I only painted just the tops because we don't need to paint the backs. They're being glued on, and the sides were already black. So once I get them all painted, I'm going to set them aside to dry, and then I will go ahead and paint his feet. I'm not going to do any Crackle Medium on the feet, so I just come in with a solid color, and I am using, I believe this is called French linen, I think. Yeah, I think it's French linen, and it's a Waverly chalk paint. I also painted the bunny's body in that same exact color, and I painted the front, the back, and the sides. All right, so now let's go ahead and apply some Crackle Medium to our cute little feet accessories. And to apply this, you want to go in one motion. Like, you don't want to go back and forth, because that actually, I'm not sure what it does to the Crackle Medium, but it doesn't work. It like makes it not work. So when you paint it on, you just want to make sure that you paint it in one straight motion. And for these little round ones, they were pretty easy. It was pretty easy to get a good coat. And I am using a pretty liberal coat of Crackle Medium on these, and then I will set that aside, let it thoroughly dry, and then we will come back in and put our top coat on. Alrighty, so our base coat and our Crackle Medium have completely dried, so it's time to come in with the top coat. And you want to apply the top coat the exact same way as you applied the Crackle Medium. You want to go in one straight motion. You don't want to go back and forth, and you don't want to cover each stroke more than once or twice. And if you do, like I kind of went a little overboard on that, and it didn't crackle quite as well. You can kind of see it start to happen immediately though, that crackling. It's like magic. It's such a cool effect. But that one that I painted too many layers on, it didn't crackle as well as the others. So that's something to be mindful of. All right, y'all, let's start assembling our bunny. So we've got all of our little crackled pieces, and they turned out pretty good. I think they're cute. I would have liked them to be a little bit more crackled, but they look good the way they are. So let's go ahead and start attaching this, and I'm just going to use some hot glue to attach his cute little feet on, and then I will come back in with some hot glue and hot glue all his cute little embellishments onto his feet. Before I started gluing down the cute little pads for his feet, I did place them all. I just wanted to make sure I had them positioned pretty good and in the way I wanted them before I just came right in and glued them down. So I positioned them all first, and then I will come back in and do the gluing. I also want to add a pocket to this little fella, just like we did with the other. So I'm going to attach this pocket in the same way I attached the previous one. I'm going to glue the edges, and then I'll kind of pucker it up before I attach it, because I kind of want it to have that poofy look to it. We're also going to give this guy some cute little whiskers, exactly like we did the previous one. So I go ahead and place the nose where I want it to be and sort of mark it. And that way I know exactly where to place my little whiskers so that I get them all perfectly centered underneath that nose. The whiskers are in, so let's go ahead and place our nose. And I do just take a second here to kind of floof up the whiskers a little bit, or straighten some out, or scrunch some up if they need it. Then we'll go ahead and hot glue his nose into place. I do feel like the pocket on this one needed a little extra fluffiness, so I did add just a little tiny bit of stuffing to this pocket, and I mostly kept it down towards the bottom because we are going to stuff this pocket with some carrots and a little bunny, just like we did the other one, with the exception of this time, the carrots and the bunny are all going to be little wood pieces, little wood embellishments that I cut out on our laser cutter, and then I just came in and painted them, and I painted the carrot tops with a little bit of green and the carrot bottoms with some burnt orange, and then I sanded and distressed them just a little bit. And when I first did this, I had kept that bunny kind of a natural color, and then I sort of decided I didn't like it natural, so I came back in and stained it. And then, as another afterthought, I started thinking, I think this bunny needs some eyes. So Michael actually ran out to the shop for me and he cut these eyes out really quickly on the laser cutter. And then just like that, I have some eyes. So I painted them black and hot glued those into place as well. We are so not done embellishing this little guy yet. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a cute little flower to the pocket, just to the bottom of the pocket, just to give it a little extra something. And then we'll go ahead and create a bow. For this little guy's bow, I'm just going to do a bunch of torn strips, but this time I'm going to leave them in strips and just kind of create like a shaggy, fluffy little bow. So I leave them in strips and then tie them all together with a piece of jute. And I'm going to leave the tail ends of this jute kind of hanging down, dangling a little bit long. And I did come in and trim this up just a little bit because I felt like it was a smidge too long. Then we'll go ahead and fluff this up and hot glue this bow to his ear. And this time I'm going to hot glue this one to his left ear. I kind of feel like it balances the bunny just a little bit better. And to finish this little sweetheart off, we're just going to add one more embellishment to her bow. I'm going to hot glue this sweet little rose that we created way back at the beginning of our video with our resin molds. And y'all, I just love her. I think she is so sweet. This one might be my favorite of the two. Y'all let me know which is your favorite, bunny number 1 or bunny number 2.
Are y'all feeling crafted out? I am just a little bit, not too much though, because honestly I think I could craft all day, every day. We did create a lot of projects today though. I love them all. They turned out so cute. They were all so much fun, and I love how each one of them has their own fun personality and style to them. I was trying to think if I had a favorite, and I don't know. Well, actually, maybe I do. Maybe I do have a favorite. I really love the little bird cage cloches that we made. Those are probably my number one favorite. And then I really love the Easter eggs. I know that color palette is different than your normal pastel color palette, but I am really loving it. I think I'm going to enjoy those a lot. Y'all, let me know what your favorite of the 5 projects was from today. Alrighty, my friends, that is going to wrap up today's projects. I hope y'all enjoyed these, and I hope I've somehow inspired you to start creating for your Easter and spring decor, because I feel like a lot of the projects that we made today don't necessarily have to be Easter specific. I think we could use them throughout our entire spring decor or spring season's decor. So, okay, y'all, well, I guess that's it. I always hate to see our time come to an end, but the good news is we will be back again next week. So y'all come see me again next week. Until then, take care, and I will see you soon. Bye. Embellishment, 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 embellishment. No, not again. I really messed up again.
What do you think of all this? Can you say hi? Can you say hi to everybody? Oh, you're such a love.